Topical issues once more, and I'm going to talk about God's manifestation. People wonder, how does God manifest? Because from the beginning we were told that God is an entity that sits on a throne in the high place, and that's what most of the religious books have written. But when you check from different religious books and different scientific books and different situations in life, you come to realize that God is a presence. God is a force. God is a power. And mostly, when we look at things scientifically, we realize that for an atom to bond together, the attraction force that binds things to have an atom is so much that when we release the energy in the form of atomic power, a small bomb the size of a car can be able to devastate a big city like New York out of existence. That is the power locked within the atoms of uranium or whatever substance that may be used during the explosion. There was a time when I was going through some books and I heard from the one I read from what had been written that if one can be able to annihilate, release the energy in a few grains of salt into energy, production of electricity that can last a household for months can be produced. Just the power locking a few grains of salt. We look at what keeps life ticking in living things. Mitochondria. Small organism within the cell that powers the cell. Without it powering the cell, even the talking that we are talking cannot be able to move any muscle. So, from the very existence, the mitochondria, to the atom, we realize that there is a lot of energy that is used to contain either the cell or the atom together. So much energy that we realize it can only come from a superior force, a superior presence. That is how God manifests from that smallest level. I was looking through some books and some videos sometime, and I realized that power or largeness is not only contained in how big things are. Largeness is also in the smallest things that when we break down, we are not able to reach an end completely. There was the Greek who discovered that the nucleus, the atom was the smallest part of an element, that if you cut any piece to the smallest part, you will have an atom. And there was a lot of celebration because he had come with an abstract idea of the smallest item that can be. But with modern equipment, we find that you're able to break down the atom, electrons, whatever, and you can keep breaking it down, and up to now people have never come to an end. You use a very large equipment to break down an atom, and you still find particles. You keep discovering new particles in the smallness. So there is largeness in the smallness. I was going through some books also to do with astronomy, and I realized that the stars that power the galaxies, out of their largeness, when one observes the galaxy, they behave just like the smallest things in the smallness behave. A black hole that is holding a lot of stars, when they come into a meeting course with another of a similar kind, you'll find them behaving like an electron and a neutron. Meaning that we may be seeing the largeness of the galaxy, which signifies the smallness of something else. It's really interesting the way God manifests himself. I went through some videos, and I came across this guy who was born in Croatia, ended up immigrating to America, and gave a lot as far as electricity is concerned, Nikola Tesla. I realized he had written that God is not what we think. And then I started wondering, what does it mean that God is not what we think? And his idea was that divine power goes with energy. That God manifests in different forms of energy. And by being able to harness and lock into that energy, you are able to realize the potential of God. During the first time people knew of when mankind began, the fuel that was there, the energy, was muscle energy and later fire. People had not learned to harness the energy within the air. Later they were able to trap that energy, and air became very, very important, because now to ride a car or a bicycle, it rides on a cushion of air. You have to pump air into a tube. So air provides that energy for suspending the vehicle. Air can move windmills, providing energy. People did not realize that the force of God, because people did not think that air existed anyway. Anyway, they knew you breathe in something, but it could have weight, it could power things. Later, with the onset of electricity and everything, people realized that the power within the electrons can be able to do different things. First, it was lighting the bulb. People got to know that that same power can be able to generate mobile things like fans, can be able to heat. People cook with electricity. It is the power within. Later, people came to realize that there is power, and this one began from long time. There is power within the magnets, in that when you put like poles together, they are not able to attract. You put unlike poles together, there is that energy that pulls them together. Another manifestation of God's power. But it didn't stop at that. We did not realize that you can harness energy in light. With the invention of the solar cell, now we are able to utilize energy from light. Formerly, we used to see in sci-fi movies that one can be able to project a ray, that is laser ray, from a gun. These big guns that are used in ships, they call them phalanx guns or something like that, used to be powered, and they're still powered, some of them, with ammunition, and they have to fire at very fast rates. But with the invention and ability of getting to harness the power within electricity, now you can have a gun without bullets, a cannon without, what do you call them? Yeah, the shells to fire. Because from that electricity, a ray is able to be produced that can be able to cut down something, shoot down a plane, kill somebody from electricity. Something that people could not think about in the past. I went through some other books also and realized that there are some physicists who believe that the pyramids, because they say that in the real pyramids, the pharaohs were not found in most cases. They say, though there are many explanations, but in the real pyramids, like the Pyramid of Giza and others, that they may have served a different purpose from the burial that is written in history. From the observation, it was seen that there were some tubes, some chambers, which are still there. And if you are able to use water and a certain type of resonance, you can be able to produce wavelengths that can be able to give electricity. It's the type of electricity that Tesla was trying to use. Produce electricity without using wires. Because air has got a lot of electrical energy, the earth has got a lot of electrical energy, and there is a lot of energy that surrounds everything. I looked at the past books also about Indian spacecrafts, the Vedas, and this is a topic that dealt with flying objects called Vimanas. And Vimanas could be powered with different fuels, but as you advance, it reached a point where they were saying now some Vimanas or flying crafts, let's call them spacecrafts, could be powered with the power of the mind. So I certainly realized that when you believe in God, that is the power within nature, you're able to harness it and utilize that power from the mind to be able to propel an object into some other dimension, you are able to sit in a spacecraft, and with the power of the mind, you are able to take the instrument. And as I was looking at some other latest discoveries, I realized that people have been trying to do that too. There was something that was dealing with a small helicopter made so that it's able to resonate to somebody's mind. So when you think of it taking off, it takes off. That is harnessing the power of God within one to propel a machine. So when we look at this thing, it means that all the energy that we have, there are different forms of energy and some other forms of energy that we've not discovered. Because it took a while for me to come to realize that what runs life on this earth is light energy. Ask me how? The sun produces sunlight. The sunlight is absorbed by the stomata of plants and water from the ground and mineral salts to produce simple sugars. From there, complex sugars, proteins, and whatever we have. So starting from that, actually, the plant is feeding on water, mineral salts, and organic matter in the ground with sunlight. So sunlight is feeding the plant. And the secondary feeders, that is the herbivores, come to feed from the energy that was stored by the plant. So they are still feeding on sunlight. And it goes on the whole process. The tree that was put there traps sunlight. And eventually we cut firewood and it releases the same light. So most of the things on earth are powered by sunlight. It feeds us, it warms us, it provides us with fuel. When we look at these things, we realize that faith is the ability to harness the energy that God has put within that environment. All the space, be it on the ground, in the air, everywhere. So, performing things that appear miraculous, getting answers to prayers that we have, it is the ability of faith in a God that we believe in, that harnesses the power to project it into something that you have asked for. So, God presents himself in different forms of energy, vibrations. And that power also involves intelligence because it's a power. It's only that energy the energy to think, the energy to reason, the energy to converge different energies and propel it in a desired direction is called acquiring God's powers. Because even when we are meditating, there is a concentration that you reach and you feel like there is something descending upon you. There is a power. There is some energy. So energy enhanced, collected, projected to an idea, to a substance, is a manifestation of God. God manifests in many ways. But all these ways entail the accumulation and the focusing of this energy to a desired answer, a desired project, a desired performance. God manifests in all those ways. That's why, if you are a Christian, in the Bible, it's written that somebody does not have to tell you that God is there. You are seeing of the universe. You see the sun, you see the stars, the wind, the water, everything. That should be a testimony that God is there. So, manifestation of power, energy, is a manifestation of God. And according to Tesla, there are many types of energy that we are yet to discover. And as we discover the energy of God, for those who will be living, it will make life easier to adjust to. But for the spiritual purposes, it makes the connection with the divine, the connection with the greater presence, much easier when you can be able to focus. You focus the energies that we know and the energies that we don't know. So God is the energy that surrounds us. With our prayer, meditation, and focusing, we are able to collect, enhance, and utilize for a certain purpose. God is in touch with us from our minutest cell. A cell within, a subcell within the cell that powers it, mitochondria. He is in every atom. He drives the universe through different wavelengths and is responsive to those who believe in him. And even those who, because God provides energy anyway, even those who do not, he still provides for them. But when you concentrate on him, you can easily focus the energy into a certain performance. So, one manifestation that I may say that God manifests himself in is in different forms of energy. And these energies are able to do different things for us. That's why there are some people who I saw some videos long time where, was it in Greece? Yeah, I think in Greece, where people would come and meditate and focus their faith on themselves and on to their body, and they would walk on hot coals. Somebody would cover a long distance and they will not be burnt. Not even feeling the pain, bare feet, walking on hot coal. Something that many of us, almost all of us, if you step or you hold a hot piece of coal or charcoal, you burn. But here, people who, with that meditation, that power, that energy surrounding them, they are able to go over that. So I wish also to concur with what Tesla was saying, that what we knew about God is very little. What many of us think about God is not what God is. God is more than what we think of him. God is more than what we understand about him. And God manifests himself in us and other things and other entities in forms that we cannot understand. But most of it is in different energy forms. Power of God, manifestation of God. I think I'll leave it at that point for now. Those are my thoughts as I went through Tesla's videos and these other things. That is what came to my mind too. I realized that God is a manifestation of different energy forces and powers, some that we know, some that we don't know, and some that we will never know, that is able to manifest in intelligence, that is able to manifest in different forms, some of the things that we don't even realize, even creation. And that's why the Bible says your tongue, when you focus, has the power. Your mind has the power. Because of the godly ability, the godliness in us, because we are told we are fearful and wonderful men, there is a spark of godliness in each one of us. That's why they say God within you. With that, in connection with God, you are able to perform a lot. You are able to do a lot. The impossible becomes possible because of that acquiring, compressing, and use of the different energies that God has put around us. So God is a mighty present. Those are some of the ways he presents himself, and there may be others, but those are the ones that I have been able to compress for us to think about, discuss, and you can add others also. They are more than what we can be able to comprehend, more than what we can be able to enumerate. But that energy part is very important. Energy and godliness come together. It's a divine issue. And that's why everything is propelled by energy. Everything. That is my take for now.